You know that feeling of frustration when you feel like you want so much out of life, but you just don't know how you're going to get there, or if you're even in the right place to get what you want. Being in your 20s can be such an overwhelming time, especially when so many people are doing a variety of things, whether that's going travelling, buying a house, or even focusing on their career. And there's a constant state of feeling like I should be further along than I already am. In this video, I'm going to talk all about how you actually know whether you're on the right path for your future. I'm also going to talk about my experience with removing the self-doubt and negative talk when it comes to that, and talk about the law of attraction techniques and self-development techniques that I've learned that completely have changed my outlook on life. I think all of us have had a time when we can relate to the self-comparison feeling of whether it's people online or your friends and what they're all doing, or the people you went to school. And what I came to realise was that it was really holding me back, because I was comparing my success to what other people were doing that were in completely different situations to me. My journey towards where I want to go is completely going to be separate to what other people are doing, and by trying to keep up with what they're doing, I'm just holding myself back. For example, when I left college, a lot of people that I knew either went to university or they went to drama school, and I was feeling such a failure when I came back home, and I didn't really have anything like that going on. I was working at Sainsbury's at the time, and I really wanted to get out because I wanted to do things that were related to what I trained in. And I felt that urge of being very impatient, and honestly I remember times when I'd be sat in my car and I'd just be like, please just let me do something that is related to what I want to do, and it just wasn't happening. But that self-comparison feeling only brought up frustration. And with the law of attraction, when you're feeling a sense of frustration, your energy is not matching with the energy of what you want. So you're vibrating on a different frequency to the thing that you're wanting, which is only pushing away what you want. And to get whatever you want in the law of attraction, you have to be vibrating at the same frequency. We have to look at it like radio frequencies. So what you want is on frequency 100. And when you're feeling frustrated, you might be on radio frequency 70. To attract what you want, you have to build to the same frequency. So the key is to focus on what you're doing and be happy in the now. And yes, we're always going to want more, and it can be such a challenge to do that when you're feeling the lack. But if you can find ways of appreciating the moment you're in and realising that you're there for a reason, and there might be things that you're learning from that. For me, working at a supermarket, I got a lot of life experience from talking to customers every day, seeing different walks of life, and from being there I also took on a lot more responsibilities, which then later on when I started working as an assistant director in TV, those skills also were adaptable. So it was about realising that yes, I'm not where I want to be right now, but there's still positives to me being there. So focus on the positives and work on your emotional frequency to match up to what you want. If you don't know what your emotional frequency is, like how sound is measured by frequency waves, your emotions are also measured by that. So I'll show a chart which has all the different emotions and what emotional frequency they are at. And because everything around us is made up of energy, we have to permit the same energy frequency as what we are feeling to the object. And so for a short explanation of the law of attraction, you have to be what you want. You have to be the same energy frequency as the thing that you're desiring. So if you're in a situation where you want something different, but you're on a different energy frequency than it, then you will not be able to achieve it. So I think the big question that all of us ask at one point in our lives is, how do I know if I'm actually on the right path to achieve my dreams? And I think this lesson has been the one thing that has really helped me have no regrets about the path that I've taken and helps me make choices now, is the lesson that I learned through Bashar. Now, if you don't know Bashar, I really recommend their work. And Bashar is an energy that is channeled through a man called Daryl Anchor. It's a future version of Daryl speaking through him and offering information. I know the concept of Bashar can seem a bit out there for certain people, but if you're interested in checking out their work anyway, I think the information alone is so important and so interesting that you don't need to think about how it got there. Bashar says, every choice you make, no matter the outcome, has an equal opportunity for the outcome to get you where you want to get to in the future. And basically that means that no matter the choice that you make, no matter where you end up, every place that you could end up has an equal chance of getting you to where you want to be. So say, for example, you had a choice to not go to university or to go to university. Regardless of the outcome, eventually you could get to where you want to get to. Although they might lead you on completely different paths, you still have the ability to get there. So basically, no choice is wrong. When I heard this helped me relax so much about the choices that I've made in the past and the choices that I'm going to make in the future. Because sometimes I find that we beat ourselves up thinking, oh, if I don't do this, then is that going to jeopardize my future? And I've even made choices in the past that I think, oh, if I'd have done that, maybe I wouldn't have be where I am now and I'd be in a completely different situation. But to know that there's still an opportunity and there's equal opportunity, so no matter what, you're still going to be able to get there, that just brings me so much more comfort and peace, knowing that there is no wrong choice. You can do whatever you want and you're still going to get there. This leads me quite nicely into my next point, which is about following your highest excitement, because I think hearing that, a lot of people will be asking, but how do I get there the quickest? And Bashar talks a lot about following your highest excitement and how this is a communication through you and your higher self. And by following your highest excitement, which basically means to choose the most exciting option when faced with 2 or more options, and also you can do this with really small things, it doesn't have to just be big life choices. But for example, let's go and say that you have 2 job offers. If you follow the one that's most exciting to you rather than the one that's the safest option or the one that just feels better because someone else thinks it's better, you listen to what feels right within you. You're listening to your higher self, and that higher self is guiding you towards what route is going to be quicker, because your higher self knows all your beliefs and what you want out of life, and it is basically an extension of you. And it might not make sense to you at the time why job A feels more exciting to you than job B, because on paper they look very similar. But if you do listen to your highest excitement, your internal guidance system, then you're going to get there quicker. My mum has a great story about following your highest excitement. When she left school, she didn't know what she wanted to do, and she knew that she loved horses, and she tells me all the time about how she would daydream about having one, and she didn't know what she wanted to do. So when she came out of school, she followed what made her excited, which was horses, and she became a groom for some show jumpers. Now, fast forward a couple of months and maybe years, she overheard a conversation where someone was talking about wanting to be an air stewardess, and this was something that she'd never even considered, not something that she ever even thought she'd be able to do until this conversation. And from doing that, it then sparked this information and knowledge in her that that's what she wanted to do. And although she didn't have any of the grades, she didn't know how to get there, from following her highest excitement of working with horses, she was then able to get the information. And she then realised that she needed to go back to school and she needed to go and learn French and get her A-levels, or O-levels at the time. And if she hadn't have gone to work with horses, then she wouldn't have known to do that, because she wouldn't have been at the right place when this person was going to be an air stewardess, and she thought she quite fancied the sound of that. She then became an air stewardess for British Airways. And although that's just a short story and an example of that, and we actually have a podcast where she explains it so much more, so I'll link that down below if you want to go and hear a further story. But that story reminds me of how if you follow your highest excitement, then things that you couldn't even imagine will come up. Now, of course, you're going to hear these sort of things all the time, but remember, following your highest excitement is the way to get there quickest, because you're following your internal guidance system, which has so much more knowledge than you do right in front of you. So it's important to think, when you're faced with 2 options, what gives me a bit more excitement, what feels a little bit more fun. And yes, sometimes you can't always choose the most fun option, because yes, sometimes there are times when you have to do what feels the most safe at the time because of external resources, but try and follow it to the best of your ability whenever you can. Another thing I wanted to talk about was challenging our inner belief systems about ourselves, because I think so many times we can look at people doing something and say to ourselves, oh, that could never be me, I would never be able to do that. But that's a limiting belief, and I think it's important that we are listening to our inner thoughts and questioning them sometimes, because they're not always right. Question, why could that not be me? Like, why is it I couldn't be doing that? And yeah, there's going to be a lot of limiting beliefs there, whether that be money or your ability, but those things can all be worked on and improved. And yes, it might take longer than certain people, but there is no reason why things can't be you. If you can see someone else do something, then there's no reason why you can't be doing it too. So challenge those inner belief systems, and rather than saying to yourself that you can't do it, work out how you could be doing it instead. Now, this last point is a technique which I use all the time, and I would go as to say that this is my favourite law of attraction technique, and that is visualisation. If you don't know what visualisation is, it is the practice where you mentally rehearse a situation before it's happened, and athletes do this all the time. And basically I sit there with my eyes closed and I go over a situation as if it's already happened in the best possible outcome. So say if I'm going to go for an interview, I would go over the things that they might ask me, and of course it's all your imagination. And when you're doing this, you're connecting your neural pathways, which then is what creates your habits. So when you're repeatedly doing something again and again, your neural pathways are coming together. This links to the law of attraction, because going back to vibration, when you're imagining it, you're raising your vibration to the situation of the best possible outcome. And as we said before, to experience something, you have to be the same vibration of it. So say every situation, good or bad, is a different vibration. By permitting the energy of the best possible outcome, you're going to attract the best possible outcome. So that's why visualization is so important, and you'll really start to see when you start using it, it actually works. I've had so many situations where I'm sat there thinking, I imagined this exact conversation, and it is a real game changer. And so to do this, I literally just sit in a quiet place and close my eyes and mentally rehearse the situation before it's happened. And remember, when you're doing it, to feel the emotions as if you already have it, because remember, we're trying to raise our vibrational frequency, which is all to do with our emotions. So imagine the situations in your head and feel the emotions as well. And then when you're connecting that with following your highest excitement, you'll be on your way to achieving your dreams so much quicker, and without feeling the frustration from the self-comparison and the frustration that you felt before. And so overall, there is absolutely no wrong way that you can choose, so take all the pressure off. And I'm going to invite you this week, if you can practice visualization, even if it's for 45 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable at this stage, have a bit of a go at mental rehearsal and visualization. If you don't find that the visualization in your mind works, I also script and write as if it's already happened. Just remember to feel the emotions as if it's there as well. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I absolutely love talking about this side of the law of attraction. I think it's really beneficial, and I've used it in so many ways in my life. And so leave any comments down below of things that you're struggling with, or maybe something that you're experiencing right now. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a new channel and I love seeing new people join the journey. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Goodbye!